Hello and welcome to another episode of Boat in the Bonnet. My name is Frans and I'm building an Iain Oughtred Guillemot traditional dinghy. Some years ago I made myself a model of a lap strake dinghy. At the moment my dinghy is turned upside down and the first 7 strakes are already in place. What I have to do next is make the shear strake, keeping in mind that it's a little bit different than making the other strakes. On top of the shear strake are the gunnels, if I pronounce that correctly. The building plan shows 3 options to construct the gunnels. Option 1 shows the shear strake stopping at the top of the gunnel. The second option shows a shortened shear strake covered by a hardwood batten. The third option shows a shortened shear strake laying in the rebate of the gunnel. This option is my favorite. There are 2 wide battens running from the transom across the station molds to the stem. At the building plan, the green line indicates the inverted top of the batten. The yellow line at the building plan indicates the top of the future shear strake, which runs 8 mm short of the batten top. Knowing this, work on the hull could commence. The plank lengths were marked and planed at the right angle. At the stem side, the gates were roughed out with a chisel and finished with a small rabbet plane. Leftover plywood from a strake which didn't fit well now came in handy to make the strake template. A pencil line running along the top side of the 7th strake was drawn on the inside of the template. The template was carefully released. On the inside, a second pencil line was drawn at a distance the same as the plank length width. The excess parts of the template were cut just outside the pencil line. Then the template side was planed smooth. The template was offered up and its position inspected. Satisfied with the result, the length and width of the plywood needed to make the shear strake were measured in the presence of Jack. The planks were cut out of the 6 mm marine plywood sheet. 1 short and 1 long plank were laid on the flat kitchen floor with the template on top of them. The angle between the short and long part was established and the scarf joint length marked. Plane and file were used to create the bevels. Having learned from made mistakes, the longer planks were secured to the base sheet using small nails, so they could not shift out of place. The same was done to secure the short planks after the epoxy glue was applied. Pressure was applied and the epoxy left to cure. Next day the hardwood blocks were removed and the excess epoxy sanded off. The kitchen floor again acted as flat base on which the plywood planks were placed with the template on top of one to copy the template info. The excess plywood then was cut off just outside the pencil lines. Planing the strake sides refined the outlines of it. The turn buttons were fastened onto the station molds and the strake put in place for a dry fit. Noticing everything was like it was intended, the strake then was placed at the other side of the hull. Here the strake also fitted perfectly, which meant the shape of it could be copied onto the second sheet. After making some sawdust, both strakes were put in position The gains were cut and preparations made to glue the strakes. Epoxy glue was applied and the strakes clamped. At the transom and stem side, the strakes were secured using bronze nails. Next day, the clamps were removed. The turn buttons were unscrewed . And the tape torn off. Overhanging parts of the strakes were cut flush to transom and stem. At that moment, the planking of the hull was complete. Now I know the last plank is called the whiskey plank. Having no whiskey at home, I poured myself another drink. In the next episode, I'll be making the skeg. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Cheers.